Hey everyone, I'm Gerald Swindle, Bassmasters Elite Series Angler. I have 5 of my favorite cold water cranking baits right here on the front deck of the Phoenix. I'm gonna go through them one at a time and show you what I prefer, like right off the bat. My starting 5 I'm gonna get down with and try to make it happen. One of the first things I'm gonna tie on is a wiggle wart. This is a storm wiggle wart, crawfish pattern. They have a lot of phantom greens, phantom browns. This particular bait I like the sound frequency of it and the way it runs. It has a little wobble to it, but it's a smaller profile bait. It runs about 8 to 9 foot on a long cast. It can be super productive in cold water. I'm always gonna have one tied on 10-pound line, regular cranking rod, but that's a bait that's a must-have when you first start cranking cold water. One of my all-time favorites would be probably the second one on the list when I start talking about cold water cranking anywhere in the country. I'm talking about from Taiwan to Tepamingo, Mississippi. It's gonna be a DT6. I'm gonna always throw the Demon if the water has a little bit of color. I really like the Demon color. I like the brown craws. Anything crawfish color to me in a DT6 is super, super good bait in the wintertime. This bait right here has a super, super tight wobble. It's not overly aggressive on the sound chamber. It's really kind of sneaks through the water, but it's the perfect match for cold water shad. You will catch fish on a DT6 in cold water. You can experiment with some colors from the, whether it's a Demon or a crawfish color. Just check out the watercolor, that kind of matches it up. Key for this bait is try to touch the bottom with it. Number 3 on deck, the Shad Wrap. I like the 6, 7, and the 8, and I throw them on several different setups. My setup of choice for today on the crawfish color number 7 is a spinning rod, 8-pound monofilament. And you're gonna probably say, why monofilament? Because it doesn't hang as bad. It lets me throw it further in cold weather. The monofilament's gonna stay on the spool better, cast better, and it's gonna keep you from hanging. This is a Balsa bait. It's a little bit harder to throw, but it has a great action in the water. It really mimics everything in cold water. So if it's super cold, I'm reaching for a Shad Wrap and I'm expecting results immediately when I start casting. A slow retrieve to a medium retrieve, the monofilament will help you get unhung, so don't be scared to be a little aggressive with it. If you see some heavy rock, heavy cover, throw it around the edges of it. You're gonna catch more fish on a Shad Wrap when it's cold. This is the OG Slim 6. This is one of my must-haves on the front deck. It's really new, it's designed by Octafo. It was part of the classic win in Knoxville, but for me, I really enjoy this bait in cold water because it runs the perfect depth. It runs just a little bit shallower than a 6, but it has a super tight action. It's perfect when the fish are lethargic. They're really not chasing things down. It's a Balsa bait, it's flat-sided, and what that tells me, like the average guy say, hey, what does that mean? It means that it's gonna have a super tight action. It's a very unique action. It's not a plastic bait. It has a very unique action. It's just the right wobble for the cold water. It's actually gonna float up a little bit. If you hit something, you can pop your line, let it back up a little bit and start it again. Ott put a lot of design in this. I'm really proud of what he done with it, and it's most definitely helped me catch more fish, but the Slim OG is bad news in cold water. And the 5th, but definitely not the least, is the DT10. I know some people think, well, DT10 and cold water cranking, maybe, hey, it's perfect. The body's not much bigger than a DT6, but you gain a couple of feet depth running, and it enables me to bump stuff further off the bank. I still go with the Demon color. This is a 7.4 medium cranking rod. I can throw it a little further, handle the bait better. Same setup, 12-pound fluorocarbon shooter. This is a 5/6-1 loose cranking reel. I really think the 10 gets overlooked in cold weather, but it's always been good to me to catch you a big fish, and it's always good to throw it off the bank a little bit when you see stuff like on 360, because you may find a group of them sitting out there that you can reach the perfect depth, like with a 10, and you can sit and work on them. So the DT10 is going to always be laying on my front deck. It may not be every cast, but I'm looking for a very specific spot to throw it, and when I see it, I'm going to make the cast and make it count.